Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the New York Jets 34-32. Today, I'm going to be giving my game review on this game and what I think is sustainable for the Steelers and what I think needs to be corrected in order for them to find some sustainability as a team. I'll point out the issues I saw in the game, I'll point out the positives I saw in the game, and I'll point out the things that can easily be fixed. They just need to do something different. So, let's jump into the Jets-Steelers recap game. Let's start out with one of the negatives I saw, and I'm sure everyone saw. The run game defense was abysmal by the Steelers, but this can be corrected. Do I think there were some missed tackle opportunities in the backfield? Absolutely. You get some of those plays, drives are shortened, the Jets don't put up as many points. But the biggest issue I saw was their defensive rotation, more or less their alignment. They had Keanu Benton playing the nose tackle. Keanu Benton is not a nose tackle. He is a defensive end that can be a really good defensive end. The problem is the Pittsburgh Steelers want to play him at nose tackle and want him to hold the line. They want him to play the line. That's not Keanu Benton's strength. And as we saw in the first play of the game by the Jets offense, they blew him off the ball with relative ease. Now, the Jets don't have necessarily this most star-studded offensive line. Their offensive line, I think, looked very improved from last year. But it's really easy to notice that a lot of the issues the Steelers had was the fact Keanu Benton is just not a nose tackle and they're playing him at that position. If they were to put Yahya Black there, I think they'd have more of a chance in a rush defense, or maybe you look to bring in a free agent off the street that can play the nose tackle position and can do with what you want. Because Keanu Benton's strength is as a pass rusher. He's got some good run defensibility, but that's not his biggest strength, and you're not playing him at the position of his strength, which is going to limit his impact as a whole. I don't get this misalignment, and also, please get Isaiah Loudermilk off the field. He is a big net negative on the rush defense. Honestly, I'm shocked he made the NFL team. He just can't hold up against the NFL offensive lineman. He gets pushed around, gets bullied. He does not maintain the point of attack, and it's not good. He should not be on the field, and Keanu Benton should move over to his spot, and you put Yahya Black there at the nose tackle position. Another negative that can easily be fixed is Darius Slay. Now, listen, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Darius Slay ad in the offseason, and I'm still not. Because he's not the Darius Slay you signed from Philadelphia last year, because you have to very much insulate him. And I don't feel like the Steelers can do that as much, because he needs as much safety help as possible, and they don't really have a free safety anymore since trading Minkah Fitzpatrick. So now we look at the Steelers defense. How do you help him? You have to give him help with that safety position. Now, they just brought in Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers, I look at more of a box safety role, but he is a good enough athlete, maybe you could attempt it. But right now, Darius Slay needs as much help as possible because he is going to get burned. He is not the same big play Slay we all remember. He is older, he's getting up there in age, he's not the same athlete he was, and he's not able to keep up with as many of these receivers. As we saw with Garrett Wilson just burning him downfield in that one play. He just doesn't have that ability to stay up with the top tier wide receivers anymore in the NFL, and that's fine. It all happens with age. But you have to find a way to help him out to really sustain him being on the field every given Sunday. Because I do want to end this video overall happy, I think it's time I get the last two negatives out of the way. And this time we're looking at the offensive side of the ball. And the biggest negative on the offensive side of the ball is, man, Broderick, man. Now, I already discussed Broderick Jones in a YouTube short on this channel. So I'm probably not going to go into great detail on here because even I said in that, like, hey, I'll wait for a little bit into the season before I go full-on judgment on him. But after week one, it's hard to stay overall positive. He got beat badly by the Jets' edge rushers. Just got beaten like a Cherokee drum. Now, is there ways you can fix that? Absolutely. I don't know if he can fix that at the offensive tackle position, though, because what's the one thing that Broderick Jones lacks? It's good, solid technique. His hands aren't there, and this is nothing against the player. He always sounds in interviews like he's trying to get better. He's trying to figure it out. So I do believe he has the work ethic that he wants to improve on it. The problem is, I think there's just something missing there. It's just not getting well communicated into him of what he needs to fix, how he needs to do it. This can be on the offensive line coach. This can be on the offense coordinator not putting his offensive line in the best position. It could be on a lot of things. I tend to lean towards the offensive coordinator and Broderick just not being a good schematic fit. Because Broderick Jones is not a left tackle. He is not a right tackle. I've been saying it since his draft year, and this was even before the Steelers drafted him. He is an offensive guard. He is a big, strong guy that if he gets his hands on you, guess what? You're not going anywhere. He's very powerful in the run game. He can play downhill very efficiently. But when you put him in a pass pro set and you want him to go against these really quick edge rushers that can get off with a great first step and just really abuse him in the offense line position, it's just not good. Broderick Jones has some ability. He is a great natural athlete. The problem is his technique has never been good, and it's really going to hurt the Steelers because Aaron Rodgers can't take this abuse. He only got sacked 4 times, yes. Those 4 sacks, 3 of them were brutal hits. Just brutal. And Aaron Rodgers does not have a history of staying healthy. He has a long list of injuries. You cannot have Broderick Jones as his left tackle for the entire season if he doesn't improve based off what we saw with week 1. The problem is, I don't know if the Steelers had that replacement at the left tackle position. I see a lot of people say Andreas Peat could play there. Andreas Peat is also a guard. The Saints had to move him into guard because he couldn't be a left tackle. He couldn't be a tackle at all. So I really don't know what the Steelers do with the left tackle position if Broderick doesn't improve, because it feels like they are really grasping at straws here to get that blindside protection for Aaron Rodgers. And one thing to add, Broderick's not the reason that Rodgers got sacked 4 times. One of the times was you had Kenneth Gainwell out there as your pass protector in 3rd down instead of Jaylen Warren. I don't understand that, and one of my other big issues with the Steelers offense was the fact that Kenneth Gainwell was the main featured running back in the first half. You have Jaylen Warren and Caleb Johnson. Use those 2 guys. Kenneth Gainwell is just an inferior version of Jaylen Warren. I don't understand why he's out there. He's not better in pass protection than Jaylen Warren. He's not a better receiving back than Jaylen Warren. And he's not a better running back than Jaylen Warren. That is just Arthur Smith trying to be the smartest guy in the room and just being overall dumb. And I don't get it because he does it with so many different players. Another player like that would be Jonnu Smith. Now I saw a lot of people were going after a certain Steelers content creator because he has been very vocal about Jonnu Smith disappointing this year. And Jonnu Smith scored a touchdown. Yay! Here's the thing. Just because he scored a touchdown does not mean he had a good game. He was force-fed targets, and he had 5 receptions for 15 yards and a touchdown. That's not a good game. That's very bad. Arthur Smith needs to be told no. And that was the biggest thing that, hey, if Tomlin can tell him no, maybe something can work here. But the no's are not working. Now let's look a bit more positively. I got my negatives out of the way. Although I still have a semi-negative, which I don't know how much of that is just on play calling, the team they played against, how the game was going, with what they were given. And let's just start with that, is Aaron Rodgers. 22 for 30, had 7 different receivers catch a football. I like that. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The problem was he just didn't have a real big distance for throwing the ball. It was, I believe I saw 5.5 yards downfield. Not good. It's not good. That can easily be countered in the NFL. But I will give a little bit of leeway here because the Jets seemed very much that they were going to force Steelers to throw the ball short. They were trying to take away the deep ball, which I understand. You got DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin's a good deep ball receiver, and Roman Wilson has some really good deep ball ability, as we saw in college. So I understand making the Steelers play underneath. And that's what the Steelers did, and they did it very efficiently. This is not me saying, oh, this was horrible for a game. I don't mind this for a game. Do I think it's sustainable for the entire season if you just keep on dinking and dunking every single game? No, I do not, because teams will come up and they'll force you to throw it deep. But for a game, especially week 1 with Aaron Rodgers with a brand new team, he did not play at all in the preseason, I got no problems with it. Rodgers looked good. He looked poised in the pocket. Still doesn't have any mobility whatsoever, but he's 41 years old, had a horrible Achilles injury recently. He's not going to be able to move all that good in general. So the Steelers really just need to focus on figuring out the left tackle position and give Aaron his time because he was able to read the defenses very efficiently. He was able to throw for good yardage. He had a great throw to Calvin Austin. He played the game very well and was very efficient. Will that work against every single team and defense they play? No. But it worked against the Jets, so there's nothing to really complain about. And we don't know if this is how their offense is going to be until we see it over a course of 4 games. 1 to 2 games, I won't really judge that. 3 to 4, okay, then we're getting to let's change it up a bit territory. But for right now, it's good, it's solid, and it won them the game. Now I have two more positives before I wrap this video up, and let's get the first one out of the way first. DK Metcalf played better than Aaron Rodgers than I thought he would. They don't really fit well together with play style. Rodgers doesn't necessarily go for these only deep ball and slant route receivers. They just don't work as well together. Rodgers likes a guy who can run a lot of variations of routes. He more or less fits with, as we saw, a Calvin Austin, who he had good chemistry with. But DK Metcalf isn't that. He is a slant guy, he is a screen guy, he is a deep route guy. And the reason why he's paid so much money is because he's really good at those three routes. He does them at some of the best level in the entire league. So when I saw him and DK Metcalf really connect and really start to show some good chemistry, it gave me some positives here that, hey, maybe there's something to it. Maybe they can really work well together. It's game one. The Jets, I don't really think had the best game plan in the world for him. They did have Sauce Gardner follow him, but sometimes he'd play off. You'd get a little slant route. They really wanted to take away the deep ball to DK Metcalf. So in due time, it will determine how good that relationship will be on the deep ball. But for a lot of the intermediate stuff, it looked really efficient and looked really good for the first game together. My last positive, but certainly not least, is Chris Boswell. He is so reliable, and yes, he'll occasionally miss a kick now and then, but ever since that really rough year he had the Steelers, he's been one of the best kickers in the NFL. You could say the best, you could say top 2, you could say top 3, but no matter what, he's in that discussion. He has a great leg, he's very accurate, and he's just consistent. And that's what you want with a kicker. And normally I wouldn't highlight a kicker for this, like, oh, you made the game-winning field goal. Well, yeah, it was from 60 yards. That's very impressive. But what else can you really add here? I will add this for Chris Boswell because he is a big reason why the Steelers will win as many games as they do this year. Because he is always the guy that has to make that play, make that clutch kick. And he does it repeatedly, time and time and time again. I hope you enjoyed this game recap. I will probably be going into more detail in future game recaps because week 1, there's so much that we just don't know that I can't make statements, I can't give certainties. I noticed some stuff that I'm like, okay, this can be fixed, and I gave my reasons as to how you fix that, but there wasn't a whole lot that's definitive with week 1. Now, I will be doing a game preview video. That will be coming up tomorrow as I preview Seahawks Steelers. And I will be doing a game recap of that next week, as well as a instant reaction short as soon as the game is over, plus some shorts that I noticed while watching those games over again, and really seeing if I see any trends from the Jets-Seahawks game combined together. Overall, I hope you stay tuned, I hope you subscribe, I hope you like, I hope you share this. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and just remember, here we go, Steelers, here we go.